said that I've managed to get your favourite Welsh person to cover this week's Flat Earth Friday. Would you be excited? What if I added that the subject of today's video is your favourite wife-defying flat earther, CC? Would you be excited then? I knew it.
Oh, we're gonna drop a preemptive like on this because I know I'm gonna like it. Simon Dan's great.
Flat earthers who know everything when it comes down to science.
You serious?
You know, sometimes I get these emails of people that are just so brain dead.
Well, actually, I didn't read the title to this video, but I'm very happy that this is laughable flat earth logic because I needed a pick-me-up after yesterday. So this is good.
Duh, you're a flat earther. You're gonna get emails from other flat earthers. That's not exactly groundbreaking information, Chris, is it?
You know, they really are. You're brain dead if you still think you live on a spinning wet ball.
Ah, well, now I feel stupid. But luckily for me, no matter how stupid I feel, I'll never be as stupid as a flat earther.
Special Officer Juki reporting.
You don't know me. And don't worry about that.
No.
I mean, it's not as if I got him tied up in his garage while I hijack his channel or anything. Believe it or not, he actually wanted me to stand in for him today.
And they say, you know, why not give it up? It's, you know, been so many years now. Give it up. Give up the flat earth.
That's not a bad idea, Chris, when you think about it. Have you ever stopped to think what you're getting out of being a flat earther? I mean, apart from endless mockings from people like me and Simon Dan, obviously. Maybe you should start a little bit closer to home and ask your wife what she thinks about all this flat earth stuff.
Well, he's not going to do that because then he'd have to stop the flat earth stuff. And the thing is, the attention from his wife isn't as gratifying as the attention from the, like, I don't know, 100,000, maybe 1 million people out of the 8 billion on the earth who think that he's right about the flat earth stuff, right? So, I mean, when you look at it that way, he doesn't care as much about his wife's opinion of him as he does strangers on the internet.
You see, now that's funny, because how does one do that?
Ooh, how does one do that? I have no idea you were so posh, CC. Well, you could maybe start by doing a little reading from time to time, instead of just watching YouTube videos from other people who you already agree with. Or you could try and stop lying to yourself about pretty much everything, including, but not limited to, the shape of the Earth. Or, and this is my personal favourite, don't stop. You wouldn't believe how well videos about you do on my channel.
Okay.
Jesus, I believe it. I absolutely believe they do extremely well, as a matter of fact. Not only that, but we'll come back over here real quick.
To yourself about pretty much everything, including,
there's something I forgot about as soon as I started talking.
Shape of the Earth. Or, and this is my personal favourite, don't stop. You wouldn't believe how well
I didn't go back far enough. I'll just let it go. I don't remember what it was.
A flat earther like myself has dissected this bullshit that we've been taught all of our lives.
Well, it would seem that somebody has swallowed a thesaurus. Calling BS on pretty much everything is not discrediting it. It's just
no,
calling
it's not.
It BS. But what you lack in methodology, you definitely make up for with enthusiasm. And I hate to point out the obvious, but saying "nuh-uh" repeatedly in your videos does not mean that you've debunked the true shape of the Earth. It just means that you're the type of person who...
This is the Casper...
Yeah, it definitely does not mean you've debunked anything, let alone the shape of the Earth. The shape of the Earth... I should probably do it this way. Let alone the shape of the Earth. The shape of the Earth didn't change just because you got upset about the fact that the Earth isn't the way you want it to be. And the fact that you want everybody to have some sort of opinion of you that, I guess, makes you feel real good about yourself while also real bad about yourself because your wife still doesn't agree with you or whatever. And you just don't seem to give a shit about, you know, people close to you as much as you do people you don't know. So, there is that.
Who would claim that Earth flat without any evidence or logical reasoning to back it up?
There's no way of putting that puzzle back together again.
Ah, yeah, now you know how Humpty Dumpty must have felt. And let me tell you, I won't be serving up any sympathy omelettes for you. It's as clear as day that you've either missed every school lesson on how we confirm the shape of the Earth in a gazillion different ways, or you're just playing a game of intergalactic truth or dare. Either way, Chris, you're in a scramble. And it's your own fault. So sunny side up or over easy. You can keep flipping your flat earth tails, but don't come crying to me when gravity starts to sunny side smack you back to reality. A bit too many egg puns in that. It felt a little eggs.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no. I need to make an egg video still. Shit.
Massive to me.
I mean, let's just start off with the stars. The most obvious thing that you can see up in the sky.
All right,
Oh, God.
Swear pants. You kiss your mother with that mouth? You're on the Simon Dan channel now. No swears allowed. But okay, let's talk about stars. And I promise I won't mention the fact that the sun and the moon may be a little more obvious than stars.
The stars. Let's talk about stars. I want to talk about stars.
Please talk to us about stars. But when you do, I need you to explain to me how the North Pole is just the middle of the Earth, and it's just right above there, right? And the South Pole is all of the edge of the Earth. But yet, people who live in the more southern regions of the Earth see different constellations than you do in the northern regions of the Earth, and in fact, don't see the North Star most of the year. We have to be on the right tilt in the axis for them to see it, and it's very limited. But they do have the equivalent of the North Star as a South Star. I forget the name of that one. I'll just pull it up real quick. Let's look. Let's do a little look-see-loo, shall we? So, just get us a new window. South Pole Star. Here you go. Da-da-da. Celestial poles, easy trail, blah, blah, blah. What's the name of the star, though? Sigma Octantis, the Polaris Australis, is currently the most accurate one as last year. Like, we don't see that star up north either, right? So if you can't explain to me how you have different constellations in the south, like the southern hemisphere versus the northern hemisphere, you have a little bit of overlap. Like if you live on the equator, you have the most overlap if you live on the equator, but there's still like the farthest north and south points you see in flux, so you don't see all of them. But how's that make sense on a flat Earth map?
Yeah, you said let's talk about stars.
Something that are light years away. Light years away.
Uh-huh.
That within itself should tell you bull.
What?
Excuse the shit out of me right now. What? Something can't be that far away. I'm too small to understand a distance beyond the thousands of miles wide that the United States is from East Coast to West Coast. So there's no way something could be light years away. It has to be just outside of this magic little glass ball that goes around the Earth that we call the firmament. And that's what's keeping everything up there. It's just projected up there onto this thing, and it's not really there at all. The fucking hell.
So the closest star to Earth, other than our sun, isn't Proxima Centauri, which is part of the Alpha Centauri star system, which is located about 4.24 light years away from Earth, and is a red dwarf star which is slightly smaller and cooler than our sun. Gutted.
He actually means cooler, like temperature. Like red stars, red dwarfs actually give off less heat.
First time I knew something without Googling it, and I'm wrong.
You are made of stupid.
But there's still hope for me, because so far I am only wrong according to a flat earther, so I'm not going to give up hope just yet.
There's no way you can see anything a light year away.
Who said we can? Or is this just another perfect example of a flat earther not being able to understand how something works, so by default that makes it fake? When we observe a star, we are essentially seeing the light that it emits rather than the star itself. Light is a form of electromagnetic radiation, and it carries information about the object that emitted it. And in the case of stars, the light they emit allows us to gather information about their properties, such as their temperature, composition, and distance from Earth.
Imagine that if you're smart enough and knowledgeable enough in both science and mathematics, you can figure that out. Did you know that that's also the way that we figure out how many planets and the rough size and distance of them from those stars from a distance? Is we keep an eye on a star and we'll watch when it gets more dim. Because even if, say, Earth passes in front of the sun in relation to someone on a planet in front of another star, orbiting a different star rather, their perspective of our sun, which would be a star in their sky, would slightly dim. Even though they can still see our star, like we're not dimming it out the sun for them entirely, they do get a slightly less bright reading of that star. So they can take how bright the star normally is, these different patterns of wavelengths. Because if it just sits, say, like right here, bing, 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 and it never comes down, then you don't have anything orbiting it. But if it goes like this, bink, bink. See, this is one planet. This would be two. See what I'm saying? So you're seeing this being light that you're reading from a star, and then it dips and comes up. That's a planet orbiting past it. When it does this, that's one, and then when it comes down lower again, oh, I guess you guys can't see that hand. So I did it like boop, boop, and then comes back up. So if it does that, you have two planets. You learn this in like introductory astronomy in college, and I know this because that's what I took. I didn't take anything advanced, and I have that kind of an understanding of how they figure this out. Like, this guy just picking up some books and doing some very basic reading without just, oh, well, it's all lies and it's all fake, then he could expand his mind. And if you run into issues where you just flat out refuse to listen to people on a subject, I suggest that you question why you're so hard-lined against that subject, and you challenge yourself on that subject to see if you're possibly wrong or if they have any points that may or may not be valid whatsoever. Just challenge your own beliefs and perspectives, because that's how you grow. And even if they are wrong and you are right, or they are incorrect and you're correct, however you want to put it, you're going to gain more knowledge than you started with, because you're doing more research into the subject and therefore obtaining more knowledge than you previously had. So just step out of your comfort zone and do a little bit of reading.
It's impossible. What does light do at an extreme distance?
Behave according to the laws of physics. As light travels over extreme distances in the universe, it continues to propagate but does undergo certain effects. The expansion of the universe causes light to be redshifted, stretching its wavelengths. Absorption, scattering, and gravitational lensing can also impact light as it encounters particles and massive objects along its path. And additionally, the ancient cosmic microwave background radiation provides insights into the early universe. And despite these factors, light remains the medium through which we observe and study distant objects.
What does it do? Okay.
See, what he just dove into is beyond the scope of the class I took. They kind of touch on it, but you don't jump into it. They're just like, yeah, so there's also this. That way you're prepped when you go further into it if you need more classes that go into it. But if you don't go further into it, they just kind of, yeah, how he kind of just touched on it, and that's about it.
Think about it. What does light do at extreme distances?
No chance. I'm not explaining that again. I think I sprained my jaw muscles with some of those big words.
It's wider. It doesn't narrow in at all. It opens.
It's the Dynamax XL.
Okay, I see what he's talking about. So what he's talking about is when light hits particles, it becomes more wide. And he's talking about the perspective of looking at light from the Earth and how we perceive it. As it comes through the atmosphere, you see it's less dispersed, so it's more narrow. This is why when you see the sun rise, or the sun set, or the moon rise, or the moon set, that these objects look bigger on the horizon than they do in the middle of the sky. It's because when you're in the middle of the sky, you're looking through less sediment that's at your eye level up into the sky than you are when you're looking across the horizon. When you're looking across the horizon, there's just more dense particles to diffuse those light particles. He's not wrong, that is how it works. But what the hell does he think these are bouncing off of through space when it's getting here? Like, there might be some comets and asteroids, another galaxy or something that crosses paths at some point, sure. But at the same time, it's not like that one light source is going to become so massive it blots out the sun or something of that nature. So, once again, typical flat Earth L.
No, light.
It doesn't narrow in at all. It opens up wider.
Now, light does experience some degree of diffraction. Oh, that's the posh
That's
word
the
for
word.
Spreads out for any flat earthers that may be watching. Which leads to a slight spreading of light waves as they propagate through space. But since space is mostly empty, with vast distances between objects, the spreading is typically minimal compared to the effects observed on Earth. See, this is
Exactly my point.
where I think CC goes wrong. He can't seem to wrap his teeny-weeny little flurf brain around the not-so-teeny-weeny size of things in space. So what that means is he's misunderstanding the way the light we see from stars behaves when traveling through space, and he's trying to apply it to the way light behaves inside Earth's atmosphere.
Well, absolutely.
Who knows?
Okay, so there is absolutely no way that you can see anything at all at any point up in the sky that's in space. It would be impossible.
Now, I'm only asking this question for the sake of continuity. But okay, let's hear your explanation then, CC. And spoiler, he's gonna say that the stars we see are on the inside of the dome. Trust me, this isn't the first video I've made about CC. He's nothing if not predictable.
Maybe you could see the fake planets up.
The dome is the firmament I was talking about, which a lot of flat earthers don't say the firmament, they'll say that it's a dome. What they're referring to is the firmament, which is referred to in the Bible, in Genesis, during creation. And people will make the argument from there that we must have a flat earth, and what they fail to also point out is that the Bible also says that the earth was reformed during the flood, which means that the firmament was also destroyed because it made for the earth's atmosphere to be ideal conditions always, and you didn't even have rain. You just had like perpetual mist, basically. So people like to take this out of context to fit a narrative, is what I'm getting at.
Up there, but stars that are light years away. I don't understand the stupidity of people.
Are you serious?
Now, while we're on the topic of stupidity, and for anyone who doesn't know, CC is also a space is fake kind of guy, as well as being a flat earth kind of guy.
That's the projection that I was talking about. Some flat earthers don't believe in the firmament or the dome. They say that it's a dome, but the dome is a projection. Like it's the screen that the projection is on, is what I'm looking for. That's how some of them view it.
So I've got to ask, if space is, as you claim, fake, how the hell can there be planets up there? Flat earthers don't seem to be familiar with the saying, you can't have your cake and eat it.
I mean, they just...
I fucking hate that phrase. I've never liked that phrase. It's never made any sense to me. Like, oh, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too? What a dumb phrase. Make that phrase make sense to me. Because that's like saying, you know what, so you want to go to the store and buy a cake and you think you're going to come home and eat it? Yeah, I fucking do. That's why I bought it in the first place. Make that phrase make sense. That phrase to me is every bit as dumb as the flat earth logic.
They buy all of this stuff. They haven't proven anything to themselves. They've done no research at all whatsoever.
Now, my wife quite often accuses me of not paying attention, or at least I think she does. I wasn't really listening.
Well, ha, ha, ha.
But it seems she may be onto something. I'm completely lost. Are we talking about flat earthers again? We must be, right? Haven't proven anything, no research.
Interesting.
It has to be flat earthers he's talking about.
They're regurgitating all the shit that they've learned all of their lives in a book and in a professor who's sitting in front of them with a globe right behind them for 15 years, and they don't bother to research.
But those people are doing research. You just said that they're reading books. That's what research is. They're reading books. They're reading books that teach them the math on how to calculate that the Earth is round. And it done through experiments that you can set up and do yourself and come to the same result. The Earth must be round. It's just... It's not like the things in these books are untested. They're constantly tested. All the time. I don't understand how people don't grasp this concept of science where things are constantly tested against each other all the time, and the only time that a theory is widely accepted as truth in the scientific community, most of the time, is when you've got consensus because you're doing a study and you're getting the same results over and over and over again. You're not getting different results. You're getting the same ones.
Isn't that just what most people call education? I don't see your issue with that. Oh, hang on a second. Now I get it. You're annoyed that schools, colleges and universities only teach students things which are factually accurate, and with you being who you are, you prefer it if they taught future generations that the Earth was flat and that space is fake. My bad. I'll try and keep up from here on in.
But then they come after us flat earthers who know everything when it comes down to science.
Then explain it. Explain it. Give me the experiments that have been done thousands of times to prove that the Earth is flat, so that we can also test them and get the same results. That's how you would do it. Or, I don't know, show us the book it's written in so that we could study it, because that's what research is. But apparently, you don't believe in books, so shit. Baby's perfect,
Which is all
by the way.
Nonsense you've been fed. Garbage. Lies.
Are you done now? So if the educational system only teaches lies and science is, as you so eloquently put it, bullshit, then how are you recording your video? On a potato? No, you're recording it on a device that we only have thanks to science.
While he's driving in a vehicle that exists because of science. This guy's fucking stupid.
You bargain based.
Now, not only is he stupid, but he's expectedly stupid because this is the mindset of a flat earther. This is why I feel like I'm going to have an aneurysm when I watch these.
It's on a device that we only have thanks to science. You bargain basement Richard Gere while travelling in an automobile, which scientific discoveries and advancements have certainly contributed to.
They don't even. The scientists are working off of. Oh God, jeez. You know, I'll tell you. I mean, okay. Let's talk about taxes. Okay.
I was just
What? The fuck do taxes have to do with the Earth being flat? Holy shit. Alright.
to enjoy myself. You can't change the topic halfway through a video.
Taxes. Taxes were originally made in 1943.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. Holy shit. He doesn't know history. Why did we have the Boston Tea Party? Why did we as United States colonials, this is pretty my family as far as, well, I think not all of it, but, you know, majority of it. My point being, colonial United States said, the king, he has angered me. Thou hast angered me, king. I shall throw your tea, my breakfast beverage, into the sea. And then we will make the sea into tea. I hope it gets back to you, filthy. Why did we do it? Taxes! Fucking taxes! Robin Hood. What's the story of Robin Hood? That he robs from the rich and gives to the poor. But that's not really it, right? It's that he was robbing from the sheriff of Nottingham and his unjust taxes to give back to the people. And sometimes instead of the taxes, he would take food. Now, if you look at the actual lore, not the Disney lore to it, it's all food. He was going out and hunting, like, deer that didn't, like, technically how it worked at the time was that the deer belonged to the king and were managed by whatever royalty was in charge of your area. You didn't have a right to those deer. That's the king's deer. So he was just poaching deer to help feed the poor. That's really the story of Robin Hood and the lore of Robin Hood. But it's just, once again, to highlight the fact that taxes have been there forever. Now, if you want to go even further back, you can open up the Bible. Now, you can say, oh, the Bible's full of lies. But you can also verify a lot of what the Bible has to say. Okay? This is being one of those things. So, when you open up the Bible and you go to the New Testament and you start reading about the New Testament, you start reading about these disciples, right? These people that followed Jesus. Well, I'll be damned. It just so happens one of them was collecting taxes for the Romans. So taxes have been around fucking forever. Our country has been charging taxes since 1778. Okay? We've always had taxes. This shit's not new. And I'm saying 1778 because we had to first win the War of Independence to have a government from which we would pay taxes to. Okay? So, God damn, I just can't believe how stupid he is. I just had to give a history lesson. Shit.
Wait, did he say taxes or Texas? In either case, I think 1943 may be a bit off. But I don't want to be premature here. It's bad enough I'm premature in other places. Shut up. That's not what I meant.
And taxes were originally there to help them fight WW2.
I have no idea what this has got to do.
Income tax. He's specifically talking about income tax. And the thing is, this same tax existed before World War II. We just eliminated it after war. You see, we would charge people an income tax to fund war, and then when the war was done, the income tax was gone. The thing is since World War II, we haven't ever done that again. So, I mean, roughly like 90% of American history we're at war, and perpetually since World War II.
We're flat Earth, but okay, taxes have been part of the United States of America since its early history. The introduction of taxes can be traced back to the American Revolution. In 1775, the Continental Congress imposed various taxes to fund the Revolutionary War effort against British rule. Sorry about that, Americans. It was nothing to do with me.
Yeah, and like I said, 1773, Boston Tea Party.
I promise. I love America. Except for the part where...
I kind of just guessed on 1778, by the way, because, you know, we didn't have a fucking government. We just had rich people that were trying to win a war against the largest army in the world at the time.
Where CC lives, you know, Westchester County. When I was over there in February, I had a near-death experience. Well, I say that. What I actually mean is I drove on the interstate, and I honestly, I thought I was going to die. I've never been so scared.
No, taxes are now something that people have grown up with. We just accept it. We get a little piece of our paycheck taken out every single month.
Now, the only reason that you should actually be upset about the fact that they're taking, and it's not even every month, you're getting a piece of your, and it's not a piece, it's a chunk of your your paycheck taken before you even receive your check, every time you get a check. And the only reason you should really be upset about this is because they're still charging you a tax on everything else while they're also doing this. So you already paid your taxes, right? But then you need to go to the store and you need to buy some goods. Or maybe you go to a restaurant and you buy some food because it's prepared. When you go to the grocery store, you buy unprepared food. You don't pay a tax on that. But when you buy it when it's been prepared, there's taxes. You pay your sales tax on a bunch of different stuff, right? So you're getting taxed again. That's why you should be upset about the taxes. Not because of whatever the hell this dude's going on about. If you want to be upset about the taxes, be upset about the taxes for the right things and understand the fact that if they are already taxing you right out of the gate, then why the hell are you paying more taxes and more fees? If I'm paying you a tax, why do I also have to pay for a registration? And why do I have to pay for a tax when I pay for that registration? And why do I have to pay a tax on when I purchase this thing or that thing, or when I buy gas for my car, or when I do this or that? Anything at all that you do that you're paying taxes for, I get irritated about because you already tax everyone's income. So what the fuck is going on here?
Well, my gas has never been so flabbered. You got something right, CC. Yeah, taxes suck. But what can we do about it? Everybody's got to pay them. They're a necessary evil, pal.
I mean, they're necessary to an extent, but most importantly, you're just not going to get away from it. And if you think that you are, you can have that discussion with people like Wesley Snipes, okay, who thought he wasn't going to pay these income taxes anymore. He thought they weren't constitutional. He was given information by people he was around who probably had flat earth ideas and also thought that you could just not pay taxes and be safe. And look at him now, okay? You can do a lot of things, but when you start trying to tell the government that you're keeping their money because they look at that as their money, they will bring down upon you the hammer of Thor, and you will not enjoy it.
And I'm not really sure what any of this has got to do with flat earth, but I'm fully invested now, so let's hear some more.
And that chunk is given to the government. They can do whatever the hell they want with it. Okay? But it was originally designed to fight a war.
Sorry. He's gone off on a tangent, but I can't not correct him. It would be like an itch I couldn't scratch. Taxes were introduced in the United States for various reasons. They serve as a primary source of government revenue to fund essential functions such as infrastructure, defense, and public services.
Yeah, so what I'm assuming this guy's going to miss is the fact that prior to World War II, there was still an income tax, but you had to earn over a certain amount of money in order to, like, pay an income tax. And our society at the time looked at paying an income tax as a good thing because it meant that you'd reached a point in your life where you were financially successful and secure. When you were paying a tax on your income in our country at this point, you were paying a tax that was based off of an income where you had your family, a house, food, and you were able to get to and from work, all covered. It wasn't a stressor. You were fine. So you crossed this threshold, and now you had a tax that you had to pay. And I don't mean like, yeah, and you lived in like a mobile home. I mean like you had a house and a yard. Like you had a piece of property that was yours that's going to gain value over time because it's what property does. So you had to reach a certain point financially where on paper you were financially secure and your basic needs were exceeded because there was going to be no fear of the taxes harming your ability to survive. The income taxes that they put in for wartime on everybody were ended after wartime because of the fact that it causes that kind of stress on people.
Taxes can be used to support war efforts and shape economic behaviour, promote social objectives and address income inequality through wealth redistribution. And they're crucial for financing public goods, social programmes and ensuring financial sustainability for the government.
You're never redistributing wealth with taxes. You never have. Taxes have not once ever redistributed wealth. Not one time. Not once. You know why? The people who are rich have always created the laws for the taxes. When people complain that the rich qualify for all these write-offs on taxes and they don't pay any taxes, the fact is, of course not. They never have. Throughout all of history, the people who make the money make the rules, and the people who make the rules don't want to pay the money into that system. So they find ways that even if they pay money into it, it's transparent to them, and it's as little as possible. A lot of the time, it's just like, well, I paid you in advance. I figured this year I'm probably going to owe $100,000 in taxes, so I told the IRS to keep $100,000 of a refund so that I don't have to pay that into taxes next year, or I let them keep whatever I was supposed to get back and sent them a check as a forward payment on taxes, which you can do here. And people don't understand that that's an option, and they see that somebody didn't have to pay taxes, but they don't see the reasons why.
I don't like them either, but what are you going to do?
Nothing.
A war that no longer exists. So if you're telling me we're not in a world war right now, we are.
Ah, right, so we're using flat earther logic.
What the hell?
Taxes were introduced to fund World War II. Okay, taxes were introduced to fund World War II.
To an extent, yeah, but I mean, really, come on.
Even though they weren't. And because we still pay taxes, we're still at war. Got it? Makes sense now. Thank you very much to Simon Dan for asking me to fill in for him again. If you like what you saw in this video, believe it or not, I've got my own channel.
Yeah, so we'll just stop there for that one. But yeah, this idiot went on his own fucking tangent about taxes, and he didn't even know what he was talking about with taxes. This guy, I understand, not really knowing and just having a very superficial knowledge of taxes and the way they work here. He's not from here, and people here don't understand taxes. And what I said about the way taxes work here historically, I am perfectly open and happy for somebody to correct me on and me being incorrect about. But that is my understanding of how our taxes, and specifically income taxes, has evolved here over time. So, and I'm perfectly fine with being wrong about it. Like I said, it is what it is. And if that happens to be what it is, then so be it.